Hey guys, today I'm going to be revealing for you the second best palette of 2023. I know we're in the wrong year, but that's just what we're doing. If you want to see the palette that ended up in my number 3 spot as well as my top 20, I will link both of those videos up in the corner if you want to see them. But for today's video, I think that the palette that I'm going to use and show you today is not going to be one that anyone is really surprised by, mostly because everybody knows I love this brand and I definitely gave this palette a very good review and I had a really good time working with this. It's a great palette. There's nothing I would change about it, and drum roll please, it is the Machina palette from Blend Bunny. Now, when I first saw this palette sneak peeked and announced, I was like, huh, that's not really what I was expecting, you know, seeing the outside of the palette, and I don't know, I was a little bit like thrown away by the thrown back. Not sure what I'm trying to say there, but I don't know. I was a little just confused at first when I saw this, but then using it, I was like, like I get it now. Like I get the vision, I get the color story, and I think it's beautiful. I think the mattes are stunning as always from Blend Bunny, and some of these shimmers are my absolute favorites that I have from all my Blend Bunny palettes. So I'm really excited to do another look with this palette. I think for today's look, I want to try to pair some of these like grungy greens together with the purples. I think that could be kind of fun, and then maybe do like these two on my lid. Sort of like the plan, that's where I'm going. I'm not sure how that's gonna really turn out, but we're just gonna go ahead and play. We're gonna have a good time with this palette, which I already know because I know I love the formula and I know I love Blend Bunny, and it's just a brand that I know I can trust when it comes to their formula, and so I'm more likely to want to experiment when I'm using Blend Bunny than I am with some other brands, because at least I know that the shadows are gonna perform well, so like if something goes poorly, it's my own fault. But yeah, I'm just really excited about this, and now that you've seen my number 2 spot, I think my number 1 spot is maybe, I don't know if I should say obvious, but I feel like there's a palette that's obviously missing that I gave a very, 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 very good review, and it was one of the first palettes I think I reviewed last year. So if that gives you any kind of hint, let me know if you now think you know what it is. I know some of you were very surprised by my number 3 palette, which totally understand because I surprised myself like putting that palette so high, but I really enjoyed the look that I did with it yesterday, and I know I'm gonna enjoy the look that I do with this palette today too. So I think we're gonna go ahead and start with this shade. I'm not really like 100% sure where I'm going with this, but we're just gonna, you know, see what happens. So I'm gonna do this in sort of the front, I would say half of my crease or so. I don't have the most time this morning, but I should have enough time that we can do something a little bit more fun than maybe I did in the first look, or the look that I did with the number 3 palette, I should say. Like, see how pigmented and beautiful that shade is? I really like that. I'm next gonna dip into, I think, just the green shade that's underneath, so this one, and then we'll try to deepen it up with this, I think that'll be the plan. So I'm gonna try not to really blend the purples in too much with the greens, just because I don't want things to become muddy at all. So I'm gonna keep this mostly just in my crease and not really anywhere else. And then I'll do the purple like really just on the outer corner of my eye. So I'm just gonna work on getting the blend between these two shades to look nice. And I'm happy to say that at least this palette is available still. I know my number 3 palette wasn't available because it was a limited edition palette, and I didn't even know that it had sold out by now. Some of the Ace Beauté palettes from that collection are still available, but the one that was in my top, I'm trying to not like completely spoil it if you haven't watched that video already, but that palette, I guess, is sold out and is probably not coming back, which is very sad because it is like such a good palette. So I think I'm just gonna leave it like this for now with that green. I probably could do a little bit more blending just where those two shades meet, but I also know I'm going to cover it up with some shimmers, so no need to do unnecessary blending when you know you're going to be going over it with something else. So I'm gonna next take the purple shade, which is the one called Glitch, and I don't know how these two colors are going to blend together. I might have to go over it a little bit with like some black or something. if these do end up getting a little bit muddy, but I think it'll be okay. I think the shade is dark enough that it'll blend into the green. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of take it slow. I mean, just look at how pigmented this purple is. Like, I freaking love Blend Bunny's purples. They are my favorite purples in my collection. And if you've used a lot of eyeshadows, you probably know that purples can be a little bit finicky sometimes, especially when it comes to layering and building and blending on top of other shades. But I just find my Blend Bunny purples to be so reliable that I feel like I can, you know, put them on top of anything and like not have to worry about it. And I think this is actually gonna work out really nicely. Definitely one of those like trusted process kind of looks. I know it looks a little bit cray-cray right now, but just wait until I'm done and I promise you it's going to come together and be a really, really cool color combination. I'm gonna take some of the same shade just to connect the lower lash line, but I am gonna go in with the greens, I think, underneath as well, but I just want to make sure I get like a nice connected outer corner here. Like, that looks really cool. Like, I like this look a lot so far, and I think with the shimmers it's all really going to come together. Like, this purple is so pretty. Just taking some of that second green that we used in the crease, and I'm gonna put that in the middle of my lower lash line. And then taking some of the first one that I used just to make this pretty much the same underneath my eye. I'll probably cover this up with a shimmer, but it'll be nice to have just this base down for that shimmer to lay on top of anyway. Just taking a little bit more of that same shade and just going over the front crease portion here just to really bring that shade back. Just gonna put on a little bit of my glitter primer before we do the shimmers, but this is definitely gonna be the fun part and where the look really comes together, because I feel like a look is never complete, for me at least, without having shimmers on my lid. It's just, I don't know, I can't live without them. I don't know what to tell you. So I'm gonna start actually, I think, with this shade and then move into this one. And I think those are gonna be the only ones that I end up using. So this is a shade called Sci-Fi. And this is sort of a, is it a putty formula? It's kind of creamy, so I would say don't be afraid to like dig your brush in a little bit. Like, I don't mind these kind of creamy shades as long as they do pick up if you're a little bit rough with them in the pan, because they can tend to not like slide around and move around in the pan. I guess that is what they do. But I actually really like these kind of formulas. I think they're just very sort of ethereal and like space looking, which I think is what Maggie was going for with this palette anyway, sort of like a sci-fi vibe, and I think that looks awesome. Like, that looks so good, and when I get the purple on, it's all really going to come together. So I'm taking a shade called Conscious, which is the purple shade, and I'm just gonna do that right in between here so that we can merge the matte and the shimmer together. This is also such a pretty shade. Like, I really like the shimmers in this palette. I think they're just special compared to some of the other palettes. And I just think there's so much you can do with this color story. Like, I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface of like the potential of this palette. And I think, just to finish off, I'm gonna go back to this shade and put a little bit of that just in my inner corner, as well as layer it over that chartreuse shade that I used. Yeah, just like that. And I think this is all I'm gonna do. So, like, pretty simple, I guess. I don't know. For me, it's more of like a time thing when it comes to difficulty of an eye look. So I've been filming now for 15 minutes, which is not really a very long time for an eyeshadow look, I think, and it'll probably take me another 10 minutes or so to get my lashes and eyeliner, mascara, and stuff like that on. So, I mean, fairly simple look depending on how you look at it, but I'm gonna go ahead and quickly finish off, and I'll come back and show you the final look. I do need to just blend a little bit more on the outer edges, but I'm really happy with how this is looking so far. So I'm sure my lash glue is still drying and it might look a little white because I just put them on, but this is the final look. I think it turned out so cool. Like, I'm really excited to wear this look the rest of the day, and it came out even better than I was expecting. Like, I love this color combination. I love the formulas in this palette. They're just great. I do have an affiliated code with Blend Bunny. It's just Annette for 10% off if you're interested in any of their palettes. I mean, I would highly recommend them. You guys see me rave about them all the time, and trust me, it's not just because I have a code with the brand, because I pretty much have codes with, I'd say 90% of the brands that I review at this point, just because I've been doing this for a while, and yeah, I have a lot of affiliate codes, and I definitely don't push them as much as other people do, but I thoroughly just enjoy everything from Blend Bunny. I think they're an amazing brand, and if you haven't tried them yet, I would highly recommend it, because I know that you won't regret it if you do. So that's going to be my second best palette of 2023. I'm excited to share with you my best palette of the year, which will be my next video, probably tomorrow when you're seeing this, or the day after. But yeah, I hope you're all having a great week. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see another ranking video, I'll put my playlist up on the screen. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.